Meantime, new today, a headline with this summary of Wednesday's GOP debate. Jaws without the shark. Absent Trump looms over Republicans' first debate. GOP Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is downplaying Trump's expected absence.
I told him, I said, no, there's no need for you to debate. You're winning the primary. He's winning by absurd numbers. So there's no reason for President Trump, who has the best four-year record in my lifetime, I'm almost 50 years old, best four-year record I've ever known, to step on a debate stage with candidates that no one's voting for.
Well, joining me now is Brittany Packnett Cunningham, host of the Undistracted podcast and a former member of President Obama's 21st Century Policing Task Force, Republican strategist Susan Del Percio, and former Republican Congressman from Florida, David Jolly, all MSNBC political analysts. Welcome all. Susan, what's your reaction to what Marjorie Taylor Greene just said? I mean, is there enough interest that a Trump no-show might hurt him?
It can, and here's why. People will be tuning into the debate and seeing, 8 or 9 candidates, of which I think 5 are probably serious, talk about issues. And what I do think, looking forward towards the primary, but more importantly, the general election, is where they come down on abortion. I actually think that will be the takeaway from this debate, and it'll be interesting to see how Trump lands, because as we know, he has varied on the issue, to put it mildly.
Yeah, to put it mildly. In a new CBS News poll, David, it was out this morning, it is stretching his lead among GOP rivals. I mean, it's really inexplicable. Will it take an actual conviction or two to derail Donald Trump, or might that not even do it?
Yeah, so look, in politics, if you're up by 30 points, what you want to avoid is the unknown, which I think all of the trial strategy by Donald Trump reflects that. He knows the indictments have helped him. The unknown is whether or not a trial and conviction would also empower him or would actually hurt him, certainly in a general election. And so I think Donald Trump is happy to go through the Republican primary, even a general election under indictment, but there's no reason for the risk of a trial and a conviction, because that would be an unknown that likely, very likely in a general election, could indeed lead to his loss.
Brittany, how do Democrats view all this legal turmoil surrounding Donald Trump? And do they perceive it as being helpful because it's going to hinder his ability to properly campaign? I mean, look, I hate to frame it this way, but is there an upside in all this mess for President Biden?
Well, listen, I think the Democrats are really clear that not only is this about the election ahead, but this is about setting a clear precedent, that this is about ensuring that people cannot waltz their way into the White House, do whatever they want to do, wipe their behinds with the Constitution, and think that they will go on unpunished and be able to actually run for that same office yet again. So some of this is about ensuring that we send a clear message that this is not the way that we want our democracy to run. And I do think the Democrats are being very clear to send a message that the front runner in the GOP is not somebody who should ever be elected again, because according to multiple district attorneys, states attorneys across the entire country, he is most likely and very provably a criminal. So I think that there's a clear message there. I'm hoping that Democrats really pound that one home and help us realize across the electorate that the choice has to be very, very clear in 2024, and that we can't play any games about making sure that he does not step foot back into that office.